Welcome to the Golf Away Tours webcast. And this month, we have the great pleasure of being joined by a good friend of ours in Scotland, Rue Macdonald, Rue, first of all, thanks for joining us.
Good to be here. Thank you, TJ.
So Rue, you live up in the north of Scotland. You're a member of Cruden Bay. You have a great and very successful Scottish golf podcast. That gets a lot of hits and has been a lot of fun to listen to over the years. And you also are the content manager for the European Tour. So we're going to touch on a few different things with you. And we'll start off by talking about your hometown and your home golf course, which is one of my favorites and a lot of our clients' favorites as well. A pretty quirky golf course, to say the least. Cruden Bay. Tell us a little bit about Cruden Bay.
Yeah, Cruden Bay has benefited with sort of the term quirky. I think used to be a negative term associated to sort of traditional golf courses in Scotland, but there seems to be a real rise in people wanting to see these old-fashioned Scottish golf courses. So an old Tom Morris course laid out by Tom Morris in 1899. Later, some changes were done by another famous architect in Tom Simpson. So you've got two real famous golf architects that have touched the property there. And I think you obviously know Scotland and Ireland very well. People play Cruden Bay and think it's more Ireland than it is Scotland in the sense that we have some of the biggest sand dunes in Scotland and arguably, probably I'm biased, but some of the best views in Scotland as well. So when people close their eyes at night and think of Scottish golf without coming to play Scottish golf, I think they probably dream of Cruden Bay, and that's exactly what they get. They get some great views and they get some authentic Scottish golf experiences, blind shots. We have about half a dozen blind shots, so you're getting it all really at Cruden Bay, and it's a bit of an unknown. It's probably got a better reputation in North America than it does domestically here in the UK. So, it's been helped by the likes of Trump Aberdeen coming on board and really putting Aberdeen on the map. But we've been experiencing overseas visitors from ever since I was a young kid at Cruden Bay. I would always hear the American and Canadian voices that would I would always, it's probably the catalyst for me getting into golf tourism myself, was just hearing those voices, wondering why the likes of you, TJ, come over thousands of miles to come play my golf course. So very lucky that way, and obviously it's been a different kind of summer, but a quiet one at Cruden Bay.
Yeah, absolutely, and we can't wait to get back there and send our clients there. we do get some great comments on the hospitality there and the quirkiness of the golf course, and like you said, the views. And this month in our newsletter, our hole of the month this month is the 9th hole at Cruden Bay, which offers one of the best views in all of Scottish golf, really. So tell us a little bit about the 9th hole, which has gone through a lot of changes, I know, in the last number of years.
Yeah, so I touched on the two architects before that changed the golf course, but the third is a firm that's been pretty popular, especially dealing with the open rota courses, is Mackenzie Niebert, and they've recently done some changes at Royal Dornoch as well. But they transformed what was really a link hole between the front nine and the back nine, took out a load of gorse and actually moved the hole to the left, sort of a cliff, which gives you some panoramic views. You can stand on that tee box and see all but 3 holes on the golf course. You've got the whole of Scotland to your right hand side, so no excuse to go left. And you probably have 500 yards of Scotland to your left, and you've got the rest of Scotland to your right. And that's always something I say to people standing on that tee. But in terms of an iconic view of Scottish golf, that slowly is becoming that. It's obviously a panoramic view of the beautiful beach there. It's a 2.5 mile beach, beautiful clean beach. Not a lot of swimmers even in the summer, and quite good for surfing in the winter. But you stand on that tee box and you feel like you're on top of the world. It's a great view over the front 9 holes, and then you can sort of see the back 9 as well. So it's been great. It's been well received. That's probably been 5 or 6 seasons now we've had that hole in play since the changes, and it's transformed a weak hole into one of the best holes in the golf course.
Absolutely. And you mentioned Royal Dornoch before, and Mackenzie Niebert doing some work there. They did a very similar thing on the 7th hole there, taking out gorse and moving the hole to the right and moving it closer to the cliff, where again you get views over the entire golf course. Have you had the pleasure of going up to see that hole yet?
I have, yeah, and just maybe a month ago was up there playing it for the first time. I would say that's probably, obviously it's just been done, so it needs a little bit more time to bed in. But perfect for your clients coming over next year. I think it'll be in perfect condition by then. Similar, exactly the same principle applied there. It's just enhancing a relatively poor hole and really showcasing the location and the views you have there. Royal Doric is similar to Cruden Bay in the sense it's got a beautiful sandy beach that you should be able to enjoy from most green sites, and that green site, that new green site there is certainly improved the golf course there.
Yeah, it just makes one of the best courses even better, and it's certainly one of my favorites. And I know there was another course that was going to go in up there, and unfortunately, it didn't get passed through the approvals, which would have been great. But that area is I think it's one of your favorite areas. It's one of my favorite areas of golf, and in Scotland. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about why that area is so special to north of Scotland.
Yeah, I think I get to hear from a lot of North Americans about coming over to Scotland and planning trips, and naturally they're drawn to St Andrews, the home of golf, which is understandable. But once you've played St Andrews and been to St Andrews on your first trip, the second or third trip, I think a North Highlands trip would be pairing the north region of Dornoch and Castle Stewart and Nairn together with Aberdeen. I think Aberdeen for a long time has been an economic hub for Scotland. It's been the oil and gas capital of Europe. So from a tourism perspective, they haven't really pushed that area very hard. But we have 3 top 100 golf courses in Royal Aberdeen, Cruden Bay and Trump International within 18 miles of coastline. There's only a few places in the world that can rival that in terms of proximity of world-class golf together. And then you've got the likes of Mercer Links, which sits right next door to Royal Aberdeen, Fraserburgh, to name just a couple that really give you enough to go there and plant a flag and set up base there and play the region and enjoy the region. And Aberdeen having an international airport with some connections to Amsterdam and Heathrow to name two. Make the region certainly possible and logistically possible to plan a trip and get in and out of that region. So yeah, it's an area that I don't think is talked about enough. And thanks for the opportunity to sort of speak about.
Not a problem. And Aberdeen itself as a city has really grown up and become a bit of a tourist city, and lots of great restaurants there, aren't there? I mean, people, my clients ask me to recommend some restaurants there, and there are just so many options, and it's really turned into a really, really nice city to visit. And of course, you've got the whiskey nearby as well, with all the Highlands whiskeys in between sort of Aberdeen and Inverness, which always ties in nicely with a golf trip, doesn't it?
Yeah, the Speyside region, which is just north of Aberdeen, on the way to Royal Doric, it's the perfect stop off there. And there's a few golf courses that you can hit on your way up there. But also to the west of Aberdeen, you've got Royal Deeside and Balmoral, which is the Queen's residence in the summer, which is also a huge draw for tourists coming over. So they do say that Aberdeen's tourism strategy it sort of prides itself on having the mountains and the sea. So we've got a range of different tourist attractions in the area, and I do think the golf is world class. Royal Aberdeen, the 7th oldest golf course, the 9th oldest golf course in the world. It's got some amazing history there. It's got an incredible clubhouse. You won't hear them talking about themselves too much. They're quite understated. They're an open rota course in all but name in the way they go about their business. But in terms of a golf course, it's world class. Maybe the best front 9 in the world. But then Mercer next door has 9 incredible holes on their front 9 as well. So it's a region that has a lot of variety, I think, but also has the restaurants and other attractions that go along with a good golf trip.
Absolutely. So, we both love the North, and we've talked a little bit about that, but obviously there are other areas, Scottish golf more, better than really anybody. So for you, what's a hidden gem that we wouldn't have heard of, or where should we send people if they've been, like you said, you've been to St. Andrews, maybe you've been to the North. What's another spot that's kind of your hidden gem?
I think if I'm keeping it to Aberdeen, I'd say Fraserburgh and Mercer. So Fraserburgh is the 7th oldest golf course in the world. It's the oldest golf club in the world with its original name. It's got, like every golf course, it's got a few weak holes, but it has genuinely 13, 14, 15 incredible links golf holes. And it's a great course that it often is people drive past it on the way to Norwich and these other places. And then to give you another one, probably outside of Aberdeenshire and in the northeast, is Kilspindie, which is just outside Gullin. People obviously play Gullin, they play Muirfield, and they play North Berwick. But there's this beautiful, charming little, I'm going to say little, it's 5,000, just over 5,000 yards, par 69. Incredible views. It's the perfect golf course. You'll know better than me, TJ, but if you're flying into Edinburgh on the morning and you're wanting to just stay awake for until dinner time, it's the perfect little course that you can get a rep in before maybe playing Muirfield or North Berwick the next day. It's got the views, it's got the quirks, it's got some short holes, some long holes. It's the clubhouse is understated and classy, so that's a personal favourite. Again, it's often overlooked because it's got some famous neighbours.
Yeah, absolutely. And those are two courses I've had the pleasure of playing, thankfully, and enjoyed both of them. Fraserburgh just had some really cool natural holes, and you can tell it's just been there forever. And the experience you get there, that with the way they treat you, like they don't get as many visitors as some of the bigger names, so they absolutely treat their visitors so well. And Kilspindie is one of the first courses I played over in Scotland, and starts off with that par 3 out to the beach, and then it has some really cool holes along the water. It's a pleasure to play for sure. So yeah, some great ones there. So let's get into a little bit of about your other gig, working with the European Tour, and obviously you get to have a lot of fun. I was saying to you before we started this that I really enjoy the social media with the European Tour. You guys do some really cool things with some of the players. They're obviously very committed to it as well. So tell us a little bit about what you do and a couple of really cool experiences you've had.
Yeah, I've been lucky enough, through my own podcast and building, an understanding of social media through that, is get a job with the European Tour. And as you know, and we do have a lot of Canadian fans of the European Tour, it's a worldwide tour. So the European Tour has allowed me to travel to 5 continents around the world and go to Africa for the first time and Asia for the first time. And that's that is incredible, but also to work alongside some of the best golfers in the world as well. So it's a dream job, and probably the envy of some of my friends, the chance to work in golf. But my role there is very much to manage the sort of the famous social networks that everybody's familiar with: the Facebooks, the Instagrams, Twitters, YouTube. And on a typical Thursday through to Sunday is clipping up the best shots and sharing them with you all through your various social networks. So as well as managing the website. So it's a great job. There's some late nights. There's lots of weekend work, but that's the joy of working in sport and live sport. So and you mentioned the content. The content wouldn't be possible without the players. So the players, we're very lucky to have players from around the world, a few Canadian faces there on the European Tour as well. But without the players and their buy-in and their understanding of what we're trying to do, none of it would be possible. So all the plaudits should really go to the players and their willingness to buy into it all.
Right on. Yeah, we have the one Canadian in particular has done quite well over there, Aaron Cockrell. He's had a couple of really good years. I know he was in contention at Birkdale a few years ago, the Open Championship, and that's when most people first heard about him. But I know he also played well in Portugal last week, and we're all very proud and follow him pretty closely over here because he's had a couple of good years for sure. So, yeah. So what can you share with us, like somebody that you deal with there that's super, like, just fun to deal with in terms of the players and experience you've had, or that you can share with us?
Yeah, maybe share some of the players that people don't think are good fun, which are actually really good fun. So someone like Thomas Pieters is got this reputation, along with Tyrrell Hatton, 2 players that are incredible talents, and hopefully you could see them both playing on the European Ryder Cup team next year. I think they're not stick-ons, but they're certainly got a good chance. Two guys that wear their hearts in their sleeve and really get into it, but actually off course, and when you're ever asking to do stuff with them. Tyrrell Hatton, for example, is such a shy guy off the golf course, and he's shown how good he is in the last few months on the PGA Tour. But I would say those 2 guys are maybe a bit misunderstood, and they couldn't be nicer off the golf course, and certainly laid back and very cordial when you see them. The thing with us, we stay in the player hotels as well, so we're getting to see the players away from the golf course. So you can, get to know players a little bit, and makes my job a little bit easier when they understand what I do and what I'm asking from them. So, that there are two, and then the normal suspects, the likes of Tommy Fleetwood, as good a person as he appears. Certainly one of my favourites. I think I get a bit of stick from my colleagues about how much of a Tommy Fleetwood fan I am, but I think everybody is, right?
Absolutely, I am as well. And you know what? I've picked him in the last few majors, and the guys will make fun of me because I picked him in the the Players Championship earlier this year before it was canceled. He was my pick for the week, and he shot 80 the first day, and then the tournament was canceled, so it wasn't the best pick ever. But he's going to win a big one eventually, for sure, and he'll be, I guess, one of the guys to look out for in August. In terms of the other European Tour players, or Augusta, I should say, in November. In terms of the other European Tour players, who should we be looking out for in Augusta?
I think I'm like you. I like Tommy Fleetwood a lot in all these majors, but with Jon Rahm, one of the players that has an aura around them is Jon Rahm, and I've been lucky enough to be at a couple of his victories. And credit to Jon is he gets so into it, and when he's in contention, he usually wins. But he's certainly got a star aura around him, like a lot of these players do. Rory's got the same. You sort of know he's on the driving range without even checking that he's on the driving range. You could tell there's a buzz around fans and media when they're around him. So I think he's going to be interesting to watch. But you've got to think about somebody who hits the ball right to left. Maybe at Augusta, they're always quite good. I don't think he's in Augusta, but one player to watch on the European Tour is Rasmus Højgaard, 19-year-old Danish player who's certainly trending upwards. I think you could see him doing fairly well in these big events coming up in the next 18 months. He's certainly a name to look out for. Another one is young Belgian Thomas Dietrich, which he's won the World Cup with Thomas Pieters, but he's still looking for his breakthrough victory on the European Tour. He's an incredible talent. And then as a Scot, I think everybody knows Robert McIntyre. I don't think he's in the Masters this year, but he's Rookie of the Year last year, and left-hander. So
good lefty, I was going to say. Yeah, absolutely. Right on. And I watched that tournament at Højgaard won a few weeks ago, and I guess it was his second tournament win already. He's only 19 years old, so if he's not in the Masters this year, he'll probably get in next April, and certainly a guy to look out for. He looks like he's got quite the game. Sure.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. Victor Perez, which is obviously a French guy that a lot of Canadians probably pull for. He's done really well in the last 12 months, and incredibly analytical. He keeps a journal. When he won in the Dunhill Links, he did his media, and then he went straight off to the gym. These guys are they're looking for 1% gains all the time, and someone like him he's obviously shown in the last 12 months how good he is, but I expect him to be around for a while and contend. He's got JP Fitzgerald, Rory's former caddy, on the bag as well, so certainly a guy to look out for.
Right on. So to finish this off, Ruan, thanks for doing this again. I wanted to touch with you on the other hat that you wear, and something else that we deal with you on, and that's a company called Luggage Forward, and a service that you guys provide for our clients in order to have them ship their clubs and ship their luggage ahead of time, so they don't have to lug them around the airports and on the aircraft. And it's a great service, and a lot of our clients have used it in the past and raved about it. To be able to jump, into your cab to go to the airport here and not have to lug everything around, and you show up to the golf course there, and it's sitting for you in the clubhouse when you get there. Tell us a little bit about Luggage Forward and why it's so special and works so well for your clients.
Yeah, it's not for everybody. It's it's a fairly high-end service, but for people that are after convenience, and a lot of people that use Luggage Forward are either maybe coming into a trip off the back of a business trip, or need the freedom to travel without luggage. Airports and certainly now Luggage Forward has experienced surprisingly an uptick in people using the service because people don't want to be spending too much time in the airport. So Luggage Forward can provide a door-to-door pickup service from your front door or your office and deliver your clubs or luggage straight to the golf course, which certainly makes traveling, especially long haul like you guys travel with multiple bags, golf clubs, a lot of older golfers probably benefit from the service as well, not having to deal with the stress and the hassle of traveling with clubs through busy airports and through connecting flights to maybe north of Scotland, hopefully. So it's very much a convenience service, but as I said, a lot of the clients are maybe finishing up their golf trip and maybe heading into Europe. Maybe their wives are coming out to meet them for a sort of non-golfing section of their trips, and that's when luggage forward really comes into its own. Really, is that convenience of, okay, I've just finished 7 days golfing in Scotland, my clubs are now obsolete, but then how do I get them back home and continue my travels into Europe? So I think that's working with you anyway, TJ, is an example of when we've seen clients take up the service is that ease and convenience at the tail end or at the arriving into Scotland as well. At the front of the trip as well, when guys have planned their trips and spent a lot of money getting to Scotland and Ireland, it's almost an insurance policy, right? So it's 300 Canadian or whatever it is to ship your golf clubs. But when you set that foot on the plane, that you don't have to worry about that anxious 30 minutes waiting for your clubs to come out of the large baggage area of the airport. It's always a scary. It's almost like roulette, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It is sometimes, especially when people are having to connect planes to get there, and clubs get lost in connections quite a bit. And it's just a great service for, like you said, peace of mind and just to keep you from having to lug them around the airport. So well, it's great having a partnership with you guys, and we'll continue that on for sure. So are you heading to Ireland for the Irish Open, Northern Ireland for the Irish Open this week?
No, so the European Tour has been back now for, I think it's 8 weeks, and we've had the return to golf, which is great. But with that, we've had a real strict, restriction on numbers and the amount of staff that could be on site. So I can do my job from home. So I will be covering in my pajamas, watching the Dubai Duty Free Irish Open this year. Clipping up all the good shots, all the funny moments, and sharing it with you all on social media. So right, Shane Lowry and Padraig Harrington are playing this week, and then we have the Scottish Open, which is at Renaissance, and a Rolex Series event, followed by the BMW PGA at Wentworth, which I'm attending in person. So that'll be good. That'll be my first tournament back, and it'll be good to be around the players and caddies and colleagues again. Because it's like every business, relationships are important, and then the players and caddies and managers knowing what I do and what we do is important for sort of future success. Yeah,
right on. Well, that's great, and enjoy that. And obviously, you always get a good feel at that event too at Wentworth, so it should be a good one. And so thanks again for doing this. Look forward to getting over there and playing golf again. Last time we played together, I believe, was at Crail, which was a great round. I had a great time playing there with you. Hopefully I can jump up and play Cruden Bay, your home club, with you someday, so you can show me around and show me how to hit all those blind shots, and it would be a pleasure. So hopefully sooner than later. Look forward to that. And again, thanks for doing this.
No, TJ, thank you, and thanks for the time. I always love chatting Scottish golf, so anytime.
Cheers.